Hey, movie lovers, this is Leo.
Mike.
And Kevin from Films and Fermentation.
If you love comedy, movies, and a good drink in hand, then you need to check out the Pod Nation Media Network.
It's home to a variety of amazing podcasts covering everything from pulp culture to history and, of course, movies like ours.
And the best part, Pod Nation Media Network is featured on Roku, so you can stream your favorite podcasts anytime.
Alongside Films and Fermentation, you'll find other fantastic shows like the KJ&A podcast, The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, Real Sharks, and so many more.
So grab a drink, press play, and join the fun with Pod Nation Media Network.
Because everything's better with a little comedy, movies, and booze.
Learn more by going to linktree.com/podnationpods.
Films and fermentation, movies and inebriation. Films and fermentation, comedy mixed with taste elevation. Films and fermentation, with Leo, Kevman, and Mike.
I told you I had some fun with this.
You and AI have become messy booze.
I'm having a lot of fun with the AI lately.
Yeah,
Sorry.
why is he holding a bong?
Does he hold the bong?
He's holding a
Like a bong, I don't know. you notice all the beer bottles on the stand?
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, everybody, don't adjust your dial. This is Films and Fermentation, episode 186. It is the second annual Films and Fermentation Awards, a.k.a. the Fermies. That's what that little special segment was there. If you're watching us on YouTube or on the media network, the Pod Nation Media Network on Roku, you can see some of these nifty little AI graphics that I created for tonight. That's right. We are Films and Fermentation, Movie and Alcohol Podcast, #1 pop culture podcast on Good Pods. I'm Leo.
Kevin?
I'm Mike.
There he is. Hey. You froze there for a second, sir. We're three friends who like to talk shit about movies. One of us talks too much, but we're three friends who talk shit about movies while getting shit-faced. In this episode, the Oscars may be over, but the real award show is just getting started. That's right. It's time for the second annual Fermi Awards, our totally legitimate, not at all made-up awards honoring the films, performances, and cinematic disasters the Academy was too afraid to recognize. Did the right movies win? Did Hollywood snub another masterpiece? Grab a drink and join us. Grab a drink and join us as we break down the aftermath of the 2025 Oscars and hand out some well-deserved, possibly regrettable awards of our own. Before we get into the rest of this, I want to give a quick shout out. We have a lot of new followers on Instagram, so I'd like to give a little shout out to those people. We got Club Movie Lovers, Movie Health, Nick Pisano, Introvert Theater, Tommy T Movies, Real Rate, HitPlay.app, Awesomeness Prime, Killing Zoe, Darren Movies Reviews, GeekOnFilm.com, Daniel James Cannon, Never Seen It Pod, and Cinema Central. Oh, and we also have Oscar Upsets. So thank you to all those people who just started following us on Instagram. We appreciate it. We keep listening. Don't forget, you can drop us an email at filmsandfermentation@gmail.com or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation to find all of our social media and podcast links. Send us your comments, your queries, your questions, your suggestions, or if you want to complain about how much I talk, you can send that to us too, and we'll read it out on our mailbag episode. Become part of the Films and Fermentation family by finding us on the PodNation Media Network app on Roku. We are an independent podcast, which means we are listener supported. Please consider joining our Patreon for as little as $1 a month to receive members-only content. That's right, for a $1 donation, Mike will send you a copy of his cover of the Amelia Perez soundtrack. From Penis to Vagina. Go to patreon.com/filmsandfermentation or purchase our merchandise at teespring.com. Oh, I got to show you guys something.
Please do. Leo needs new headphones.
Yes, we need new headphones. Please donate. I want to show you guys something. I wanted to show you that I had to set up on the other computer, but unfortunately I had to switch them. So let me share my screen real quick so I can show you a little surprise here. I updated our store. So we have some new merchandise now, including mugs and hoodies and t-shirts and magnets that have the brand new logo that Kevin had created for us on them. So if you'd like to wear our pretty faces around, we have these new items on our storefront. And we got Mike's new slogan on there too. That's a lot of L's.
That's a lot of owls.
So get yours now at Films and Fermentation's Teespring store. You can also text us at 904-867-4466. If you listen to last week's episode, you know that I will read those text messages no matter how degrading they are. What are we drinking tonight, gentlemen? Mike, why don't you go first this week?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I am drinking a Mike's Hard Black Cherry Lemonade.
Nothing wrong with that. Kev, what do you got going on?
Well, 'tis the season. We welcome in the month of March. Gone out and gotten myself a Guinness variety pack to celebrate, the luck of the Irish. I know Guinness is in high demand, and whoa!
Oh no, that's a foul, dude.
Oh no!
Oh no. Well, no use crying over spilled Guinness.
No, you see, I caught it. It's just, boy, did that go! And you gotta love the cascade of a Guinness. You really do. It falls nicely into the glass.
Warms the belly.
So it's a cool variety pack. I got it's a 5-pack of there's 5 hearts. There's 5
clovers, rainbows,
and 5 cans of Guinness. So
sounds good. I did a retroactive themed drink this week. So last week we mentioned the unfortunate passing of film legend Gene Hackman. Mike mentioned our favorite scene from Young Frankenstein. Kevin quoted the line, "I was going to make espresso." Mm-hmm. So I had a retroactive drink this week. I'm drinking Independent Distilleries Espresso Liqueur on the rocks. It is 20% alcohol by volume. This is bottle 38 and batch 7. Independent Distillery is right here in the great state of New Jersey at Woolwich Township, New Jersey. It's a very, very good espresso liqueur. I'll be sipping on that this evening. All right.
This week in film history with Mike. This week in film history with Mike.
Alrighty. So Leo, I guess you put this one on first. This
Yeah,
week.
but you can read it, sir.
The 60th anniversary of the James Bond franchise.
So if there's one thing the Oscars did right this year is they had a really, really nice tribute to James Bond for the 60th anniversary, where Margaret Qualley came out and did a very lovely dance to the theme song. And then it was followed up with a number of pop stars coming out and singing a bunch of the different themes from over the years. And it was a pretty cool tribute.
Let's hope that Jeff Bezos don't fuck it up for us.
Yeah.
In 1922, the first vampire film, Nosferatu, an unauthorized adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, premieres at the Berlin Zoological Garden in Germany.
Yeah, they just remade that. And it was a very good remake.
Yes, they did.
If you haven't seen it. Yeah, I think we talked about this before. Yeah. We talked about this before. That Nosferatu was basically a crib sheet of Dracula. So
every so often, In 1965, one of the most popular musical films of all time, The Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, premieres. Academy Award winner for Best Picture, 1966.
The hills are alive with the sound of music.
How do you solve a problem like Maria?
Farewell, goodbye. Something else. All right, let's move on. All right, next one, sir.
1970, Airport, based on the book by Arthur Haley, directed by George Seaton, and starring Burt Lancaster and Dean Martin, is released.
All I know about the 1970 film Airport is the spoof film Airplane.
Surely
that's not all you know.
That's all I know, and don't call me Shirley.
I know it's Shirley.
Next one.
Yes. 1977, Betty Davis is the first woman to receive the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award.
Yes. It's also the same year I was born. 2 achievements that year.
Yeah.
In 1985, Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis premieres on ABC TV in the U.S.
All right, Kev, quiz time. Can you give me the theme song to Moonlighting?
Believe it or not, I'm floating on there.
I believe that's Greatest American Hero.
No.
Some walk by night, some walk by day, moonlighting strangers who just met on the way. I have no idea why I remember that, but I do.
The love boat, shiny and new.
All right, Mike, what's the next one there?
In 1987, first Lethal Weapon films starring Mel Gibson and Danny Glover, directed by Richard Donner, is released.
And definitely didn't make too many sequels.
I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah, Danny Glover was only like 42 years old when he was getting for that shit. And what's your last one you got there, Mike?
Well, imagine how I feel now.
I'm too old for this shit.
Definitely too old for this shit.
What's the last one you got there, sir?
In 2010, Alice in Wonderland, starring Johnny Depp and Mia Wasikowska, is released.
And world peace is achieved.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of vowels.
A lot of vowels in that name, definitely. All right. We got a little extra segment tonight. We don't normally do this. This is probably going to be something that'll be a little recurring here and there, but I got some other news that didn't fall into this week in film history, so we're gonna take a look at that real quick.
Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates with Leo. Movie updates Leo.
I was jealous. I was jealous. I had to do my own.
Leo needed a bigger part on the show.
Yeah.
He really was feeling like,
he needed his own theme song.
You got country. He got something that sounds like 90s rock. I needed some Frank Sinatra in my life. So, actor and punk icon David Johansen, a.k.a. Buster Poindexter, best known as the frontman of the New York Dolls and for roles in movies like Scrooged, passed away this week at age 75 after a battle with brain cancer. And as I said to you guys in the text thread, I honestly didn't know he was still alive.
I only thought he did Calypso stuff. That's what I knew him from.
You didn't know he was a punk rocker?
No, I didn't know he was in a punk rock.
He was punk rock first.
He was punk rock first, and I think honestly, like our age people probably only know him for Hot Hot Hot.
Okay.
That's probably what most people know him for.
Yeah, but if you go back to like the 70s, like he was a really popular mainstay on the punk scene. And speaking of in memoriam segments, 6 actors were snubbed in the memoriam section of the Oscars broadcast this year. Normally, I say the memoriam section is usually the more well-produced sections of the Oscars.
Normally.
But this year, man, they really dropped the ball. They forgot Tony Todd, career character actor, best known for the Candyman series. He was snubbed. Michelle Trachtenberg, who just passed away.
Yeah.
She passed away before Gene Hackman, and he was included in it.
Yep.
So it doesn't seem right. Shannon Doherty was not mentioned. She passed away this year.
Best known for 90210 and
90210, Mallrats, Charmed, yeah. Bernard Hill, who should never have been snubbed. We are basically snubbing King Theoden of Rohan by snubbing Bernard Hill.
Yeah.
And the captain of the Titanic. I mean, he went down with the ship.
I know, man. In both movies. And Olivia Hussey, best known as Juliet in the 1963 Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet. And the last one is Ken Page, who is best known as a voice actor, although he has other film roles, but he is probably best known as the voice of Oogie Boogie in A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Boogie Boogie.
Yeah, does he do a lot of voice acting too?
A lot of voice acting. Yeah, Olivia Hussey was in a lot of things. She did a couple of Star Wars video games and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like these are 6 people who have been mainstays in Hollywood for a while that got snubbed. So I wanted to give them their due. Mike, you have any must-try beer craft destinations for this evening?
I do have a must-try beer from Eclectic Brewing, Portland, Oregon. Is the Quasar Pale Ale. Nearly an IPA at 6% ABV, this pale ale features the heavy-handed dry hop, which positively explode in the aroma. The tropical overripe pineapple, grapefruit rind, and mosaic pear, well with the pine and orange of the Simcoe. The ale is orange in color with floating specks of sediment. It's dry to bitter on the palate with a nice surge of citrus lingering past the finish. There you go. It's the Quasar Pale Ale.
Moving on.
Kevin's here, he's here for a bit. He's got news, it's beer and there's a Kevin.
All right, gentlemen, this just in. beer is awesome.
Kevin's here, he's here for beer. He's got news, it's beer and news with Kevin. Kevin.
I just needed an excuse to play your song tonight. Twice, yeah. We're moving on to our main segment right now. We're looking very quickly at the Oscars fallout. Normally, I'd spend a little more time on the Oscars this year, but in all honesty, I've only seen a few of the movies that were nominated. I saw Dune Part 2, the movie that got snubbed for Best Director. I saw The Substance. I saw Conclave. I've seen most of Wicked already, but not the whole film. And that's about it. I really had very little interest in any of the movies nominated this year, which is odd for me. I normally try to blow my way through the movies before the Oscars, and I didn't do it this year. So I'm just going to report the Oscars for you, and then we're going to go into our segment, the second annual Films and Fermentation Movie Awards. So the best picture this year was Nora. Here's the movie poster right there. Nora is a film about a stripper who falls in love and marries the son of a Russian mobster. You know, that old chestnut.
Okay.
That was our best picture winner.
It was done better by Richard Gere and Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
It's a hooker with a heart of gold, but the heart of gold also drops like $478 in that movie too. So it's like best director was Sean Baker, who directed Nora. He became the first person to win 4 Oscars in one night because he won for Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Film Editor, and was the producer on the film, so he won for Best Picture as well. So, I mean, that's pretty incredible achievement for a movie that I have not seen, and I think not too many people have seen. So
That's the problem with the Oscars in my mind. It's movies nobody's seen.
I thought they were trying harder last year when they gave it to Oppenheimer. You know, and they made like a big stink about Oppenheimer and Barbie, which were good movies, but were also box office successes.
Yes.
You know, and then this year they went right back to, let's screw over Dune, which should have got way more nominations than it did.
That's because science fiction doesn't get shit.
Oh, I don't know about that. Kevin and I were talking about The Substance just now.
Yeah.
A little break, and that is, I can't believe that movie got nominations because it is a weird body horror science fiction thing, like akin to like The Fly. And like I saw it, it was a really good movie. And Demi Moore should have got the Best Actress Oscar, I think. But it was a movie I was really surprised was nominated as much as it was. The acting awards this year, Best Actor went to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. Adrian Brody set a record this year for the longest acceptance speech at 5 minutes and 33 seconds.
Oh, Jesus.
He told the orchestra to stop.
He did.
And
He did the hand wave at the orchestra. I was like, I'm not done. He said something like, I've been here before. This isn't my first rodeo, guys. Mikey Madison won the Oscar for Nora for Best Actress, beating out who I thought should have won, Demi Moore. Kieran Culkin of the Culkin family fame had a really good year this year. He won a Golden Globe and an Emmy for Succession and an Oscar this year for the movie A Real Pain. That's a pretty successful year. Mm-hmm. He's a Tony Award away from an EGOT right now.
Yeah.
And the Best Supporting Actress Award went to Zoe Saldana for Amelia Perez. She's the first actress of Dominican heritage to win an Oscar. Somebody who's, done a lot in Hollywood for her career, man. A box office success. Nice to see her win an award. I just wish it wasn't for such a weird movie. Mm-hmm. And from everything I'm reading about the film, she was the best part of it anyway, and had so much screen time that she probably should have got the actress nomination and not supporting actress. But other than that, not much else happened at the Oscars this year. There were some snubs in the in memoriam, like we said. There was a really good James Bond musical number that they did. And it was actually like the fastest Oscars they've had in a while. It was over like by midnight, which is not normal. But again, Conan O'Brien was the host of the Oscars this year, and I thought he did a pretty good job. He had some decent jokes. He didn't shy away from some jokes that were kind of controversial either, which I enjoyed. So here are what I thought were some of his best jokes of the evening. In the movie Baby Girl, Antonio Banderas plays a man who doesn't know how to give his wife an orgasm. He said it was the most challenging role of his career. He said, this is the second Conan O'Brien joke I really liked. I love The Brutalist. I didn't want it to end, and it didn't. The movie is like well over 3 hours long. Netflix led all studios this year with impressive 18 price increases. A complete unknown, a real pain, Nosferatu. These are just some of the names they were calling me on the red carpet. This one is one of the ones I was like, whoa, he really went with this joke, man. That's crazy. We're halfway through the show, which means it's about time for Kendrick Lamar to come out and call Drake a pedophile. And my favorite joke of the night, I love Honora. Honora uses the F word 479 times. That's 3 more than the record set by the Amelia Perez star Carla Sofia Garzon's publicist. She was in a lot of trouble for some things she tweeted earlier this year. But she showed up at the Oscars anyway. And that led to a follow-up joke. Carla Sofia Garzon is here tonight. Carla, if you're going to tweet about the Oscars later, remember, my name is Jimmy Kimmel. And
I heard
go ahead.
that he had something going on with John Lithgow where
that was funny too.
Yeah, when segments were going on a little too long, instead of playing the orchestra, they just go to John Lithgow and he'd look, melancholy and uninterested.
So yeah, he said if anybody's speech goes on too long, we're not going to play you off. We're just going to cut to John Lithgow in the crowd, and he's going to look disappointed at you. And then they cut to John Lithgow, and he had this look in his face like. And then it was funny is later on that night, he made another joke that kind of fell flat, and they cut to John Lithgow, and he had the same look on his face. And Conan was like, Mr. Lithgow, I really appreciate you sticking to the bit. He was pretty good that night, John Lithgow. He gave out an award at one point and then made a joke during it. It was kind of funny. But that's all I got to say about the Oscars this year. I mean, there wasn't much else to talk about. There was no controversies as far as I can tell, and I watched the whole thing.
Nobody got slapped for talking.
Nobody got slapped. Yeah, nobody said anything like super controversial. There were the usual like little political things here and there, but nothing like over the top.
Keep my podcast out your mouth.
Out your fucking mouth. So that means it's time for us to get to the real reason for doing the show tonight. The second annual Films and Fermentation Movie Awards, a.k.a. the Fermies. So I have a slideshow for this I put together. So I'm going to share it with you guys. And as we look at the awards and the nominees, I'll see if you can guess which one's going to win the Fermi Award this year. So let me bring up my little presentation here for you. You guys see it?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Yep, I forgot I added the music to that too. All right, first category this year. Best sounds like a porno but isn't a porno film title of the year. The nominees are My Old Ass, Queer, Baby Girl, and Hundreds of Beavers.
Oh, Hundreds of Beavers.
Hundreds of Beavers. That looks like it's a National Lampoon movie.
I watched it. It was it's kind of like a silent film. And it really is about a guy being attacked by hundreds of beavers, but the beavers are all people in costumes dressed as beavers.
Oh.
It's a weird movie. It's got some funny moments in it, but it's kind of like a throwback to like slapstick, sort of like silent films. But yeah, these are your 4 nominees for Sounds Like a Porno, but isn't a porno, and the winner is the Fermi goes to Hundreds of Beavers. Thank you for including the applause, Mike. My button's not working right now.
I got it. I got you.
All right, here we go. Next one. Creepiest performance of the year. Your nominees are Bill Skarsgård as Count Orlok in Nosferatu. Nick Cage as Longlegs in Longlegs. Art the Clown in Terrifier 3. The alien-human hybrid from Alien Romulus. And the Margaret Qualley Demi Moore hybrid from The Substance, a.k.a. Monstro Elisu.
Okay.
Who would you have to guess if you think I gave an award to one of these creepy folks?
Oh, Nicolas Cage.
Just for you, Kev.
Yeah.
Fermi goes to Nicolas Cage in Longlegs.
Not once, not twice, but as long as it takes.
I was going to say, can you give us your impression? But you beat me to it. Our next category is Worst Musical of the Year. The nominees are Mean Girls Reboot, Joker Folie à Deux, and Amelia Perez.
It's got to be Joker.
So I wanted to say, like, for the longest time, Joker Folie à Deux was in the lead for this. And then this other little movie popped out of nowhere and gave us From Penis to Vagina. So the Fermi goes to Amelia Perez. Ironically, it won the Oscar for Best Original Song. Not for the Penis to Vagina song, no.
God. Thank God.
It's for a song called Animal, which is a song that Zoe Saldana sings in the film. The Emma Stone Gratuitous Nudity Award, named for Emma Stone, our inaugural winner of this award for Poor Things last year. The nominees are Demi Moore in The Substance. I blacked out the stuff we don't need to see. Demi Moore in The Substance. Mikey Madison in Honora. Margaret Qualley in Drive Away Dolls. Margaret Qualley in Kinds of Kindness. And Margaret Qualley in The Substance. She was on, I think it was either Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon, talking about all the movies she was in this year. And he asked her what her family thought of all the nude scenes she had. And she said it was a really rough year for her mom and dad.
If she did 2 movies with that many nude scenes, she would have to have won.
She did 3 movies with that many nude scenes this year. Her mother, by the way, is Andy McDowell from 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
That's got to be gratuitous nudity in my 3 movies. Is gratuitous.
Yeah, which movie did I give it to her for? I gave it to her for The Substance.
Who won?
She's nude about 90% of that film. There's applause for multiple reasons here, Mike. Best performance by an animal in 2024. Our nominees are The Sloth from Slaughterhouse, Dogpool from Deadpool and Wolverine, and Frodo the Cat from A Quiet Place Day One.
Oh, Deadpool and Wolverine. Frodo did a good job.
Come on, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I would go with Kevin on that one.
Yeah,
I'd go with Kevin on that one.
You got to give it to Dogpool. Come on. Look how ugly and cute that dog is. Underrated performance of the year. This is probably the only serious award I made for this. These are actors who had really good performances in films that kind of went under the radar. So I got, why can't I think of his name all of a sudden? I just did these fucking
Tom
awards.
Hardy?
Tom Hardy and the Bike Riders. Should have put their names on the screen. Chris Hemsworth in Furiosa. And Art the Clown in Terrifier 3.
I'm going to go Tom Hardy.
Okay.
He had a very weird accent in that movie, if I remember correctly.
He has weird accents in all his movies.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're referring to.
Well, it's a good suggestion. I gave it, actually, though, to Chris Hemsworth for Furiosa. The movie itself was not great, but he is awesome in it. You could tell he's having like a really good time getting to play a character he normally wouldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
He's the villain in the movie, and he is just really enjoying himself. And I think was also excited to get a chance to use his natural Australian accent since the film takes place in Australia too. So I gave it to Chris Hemsworth. The Russell Crowe Worst Accent of the Year Award, named for Russell Crowe, who won last year for our first annual Fermies. The nominees are the Joker's Southern lawyer impression in Joker Folie à Deux, and Russell Crowe in Kraven the Hunter for playing a Russian big game hunter.
I think you're going to give it to Russell Crowe.
Come on, man. It's named after him. That Fermi goes to Russell Crowe for Kraven the Hunter. Best use of the NES Power Glove. There's only one nominee for this, and they are the hands down winner. It's King Kong and Godzilla X Kong. I wish there were more uses of the NES Power Glove in movies.
Oh, you had it in The Wizard.
Yeah, but these are from this year's films, not from 1989. Most unnecessary remake of the year. Your nominees are The Crow with Bill Skarsgård, Fall Guy, and Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal.
I didn't know Fall Guy was a remake.
It's a remake of a TV show.
Oh, okay. Oh, that I knew. I'm going to go The Crow. Final answer, and I win.
The Crow. Come on now.
Winner is Fermi goes to The Crow. One of the worst reviewed movies of the year. It's amazing. He did this and Nosferatu in the same year, and they're opposite ends of the spectrum. The Thank God We're Done with the Spider-Man Less Spider-Man Villain Universe Award. Your nominees are Madame Web, Kraven the Hunter, and Venom Part 3, The Last Dance.
I'm going to say you chose Venom Part 3, Last Dance.
I would say you chose Madam Web.
All right, let's see. The Fermi goes to... Oh, it's a two-way tie between Kraven the Hunter and Madame Web. Two of the lowest rated films of the year. Venom 3 actually wasn't all that bad. The Venom series in general has probably been the best part of the Spider-Man Less Spider-Man universe. Most twisted sexual moment of the year. I'd like to give the addendum that this is not about the sex, but about the sexuality of the moment. So the nominees are Zendaya and Challengers for the three-way scene that's teased in the trailer but never actually happens because they fade to black before anything happens. Monstro Ellie Stu again from The Substance for all 2.5 hours of the film. And a crazy sex tape scene featuring Margaret Qualley and Kinds of Kindness that I had to minimize so as not to be taken off YouTube.
It's so I can't see it. Hey.
I'm going to go with The Substance one.
Yeah, I gave it all 2.5 hours of The Substance. Worst use of personal fortune to finance a vanity project. I think this is our last award of the evening. Let's see. Yeah, this is our last award of the evening, folks. Worst use of personal fortune to finance a vanity project. Your nominees are Kevin Costner for Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1 and Francis Ford Coppola for Megalopolis.
Oh, you're going with Francis Ford Coppola.
I think you're going with Horizon.
I originally was going to make a 2, but I decided to give it Megalopolis. My ultimate reasoning was Horizon's actually getting a part 2. And Megalopolis lost Francis Ford Coppola about 98% of the money he put into it. And those, ladies and gentlemen, are the winners of this year's second annual Fermi Awards. See, quick and painless this evening. So, Mike, you have any beer trivia or history for us this evening?
I have some beer history. Cream ales are light, pale beers that appeared in the United States before Prohibition. They are produced to compete with popular European-style pale lagers, but with domestic ingredients such as 6-row barley, corn, and wheat instead of Pilsner malt. They are clean, light, and refreshing, fermented with ale yeast instead of lager yeast. Some of the best known original cream ales are Genesee from Rochester, New York, Little Kings from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Kruger's from Richmond, Virginia.
All right. So before we do our cinema quote, I keep forgetting to do this. Let's revisit our drinks tonight. Michael, I know there's nothing wrong with the one you had.
Yeah, never go wrong with that.
Never go wrong with a Mike's. Kev, how was that Cascade?
Oh, it was wonderful. I look forward to them, and I know with the variety pack I have, I can make myself a black and tan.
And I had some, as I said earlier, independent distillery espresso liqueur, the independent distillery here in New Jersey in honor of Gene Hackman. And I said to Kev earlier during our little break in the show that this is a very thick liqueur. It's like drinking syrup. It's really good, but I'm starting to get buzzed. So need to slow down a little bit. So, Kev, what's our cinema quote of the week?
Our cinema quote of the week is, "Nothing can take the sting off the world's economic problems like watching millionaires present each other with golden statues." That's from Billy Crystal.
That is so prophetic.
You know what I think about the Oscars?
Yeah. I think when I was reading this, it made me think of another quote I really liked. It's from Ricky Gervais when he hosted the Golden Globes a couple years ago. In his opening monologue, he says to everybody in the crowd, "Listen, nobody cares about your politics. You're actors. Nobody gives a shit about what you have to say. Just come up here, accept your little award, thank whatever God you believe in, and fuck off."
Exactly.
And that was his opening monologue. So anyway, thank you again, everybody, for joining us tonight for episode 186, the second annual Films and Fermentation Movie Awards and the Oscar Fallouts for 2025. We hope you enjoyed listening to this very quick podcast tonight, as much as we enjoyed recording it for you. Should have scheduled a bonus episode for tonight. We have a quick one.
Yeah, well, I like that.
Yeah, so do I, and I'm buzzed.
Normal.
I get up early every day, dude. Don't forget, you can drop us an email, filmsandfermentation@gmail.com, or visit linktree.com/filmsandfermentation. Find all of our social media podcast links. You can watch us now on the Pod Nation Media Network app on Roku. You can also join us on patreon.com/filmsandfermentation or buy our merchandise at teespring.com. Text us at 904-867-4466. Again, send your comments in. We'd really like to hear from you for our mailbag episode coming up soon. Don't forget to stop by the crossroads between pickled and fermented next time around for episode 187. This was Kevin's idea, folks, so you can send him your hate mail. In honor of Women's History Month, we're doing our favorite female villains. Oh, he's back. Kev,
I'm Kevin.
I said this is. I know
Kevin.
you are. How you doing?
Good.
I said this is your idea in honor of Women's History Month. Top female villains.
You're getting all the hate mail.
You'll be getting all the hate mail, yeah. So
I
that'll be.
actually think women like playing villains from time to time. They don't always want to be the, dame in distress or what's it called? Maiden in
Damsel.
distress. Yeah, damsel. There you go.
There's couples therapy for that.
Yeah. So I think they like playing the villain, the bad girl.
If that's how you want to spin it, sir.
That's how I want to spin it. Like Dakota Johnson in Madam Web.
Madame Web. So again, don't forget to stop by and check out that episode next time around, episode 187, Female Villains. This has been the Films and Fermentation Podcast. I'm Leo.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Mike.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.